To watch these important lessons, subscribe to DP Education's YouTube channel right now. Click on the bell icon to stay updated on the latest lessons. Sri Lanka's largest free online school, DP Education.
So my dear children, in the earlier chapter, we discussed several constellations that we can see during a separate part. I mean like from February to March at about 8 p.m. We can observe the previous types of constellations. We discussed about the Orion, Gemini or the twins, then the Taurus, and about the Canis Major, right? Then also we discussed about the Pleiades. So those were the constellations that we discussed under the first part. So those things could be observed during the February to March time period at about 8 p.m. Now, my dear children, we'll be discussing about another type of star patterns, right? So these star patterns can be seen two different time periods in our universe. Or when you are checking the night sky, during two time periods, you can observe these star patterns. So my dear children, now here it is given. The given figure shows some constellations that can be observed in the midnight during February to March. So these constellations can be observed during the midnight of February and March. Okay, from February to March during midnight, you can observe these constellations, and also all these constellations can be seen May and June nearly 8 p.m. in the night. So all these constellations can be seen in May and June nearly 8 p.m. in the night. So here in your textbook it's given as seen, but however it should be seen. So I'll add the N here. So can be seen in May and June nearly 8 p.m. So this particular thing can be also should be corrected in your textbook also, right? So it's given as C, but it should be seen. So my dear children, these are the constellations or the star patterns that you can observe during the May and June time period nearly about 8 p.m. or else, my dear children, the same star patterns can be observed during the February to March time period, but in the midnight. Okay, in the midnight. So here at the southern horizon you can observe the Southern Cross. So it is in the shape of a cross. That is why it is mentioned as the Southern Cross. At the southern horizon you can observe it, right? The Southern Cross. Then near to southern horizon, right, you can observe another special kind of a star, which is the Alpha Centauri, right? Then you can observe at the eastern horizon somewhat to eastern horizon, but however it's been located in the northeastern horizon like this. Boreas can be observed. Then the Polaris. At the northern horizon you can observe the Polaris star, and the Ursa Minor can also be observed within the northeastern, right, up to like northeastern, but however it is more related to the or more closer to the northern horizon, right, northeastern or northern horizon, the Ursa Minor. Okay, then after that you can observe Ursa Major somewhat closer to the northern horizon, right? You can observe Ursa Major somewhat closer to the in between northern horizon, in between the northern horizon and the northeastern horizon. In between like that area you can observe the Ursa Minor, but however somewhat closer to the northwestern region, right, and to the northern region you can observe Ursa Major and Ursa Minor. So both the star patterns are like near to the northern horizon. Okay, near to the northern horizon. You can mention as, right, we can mention as near to the northern horizon. Okay. Then at the western horizon, my dear children, you can observe the constellation Leo. So these are the constellations that we can observe during the time period of February to March, but however at the midnight, and also these star patterns can also be seen within the May-June time period, nearly about 8 p.m. in the night sky. Okay, so Leo, Southern Cross. Then near the Southern Cross you can also observe another type of a star which is called Alpha Centauri. Then Bootes, Ursa Minor and Ursa Major. These are the main star patterns that you can observe during this time period, my dear children. Right then. So during this time period or during this period, constellation Leo can be seen near the zenith. The brightest star in this constellation is the Regulus. So my dear children, near the zenith means when you look at the topmost point of the sky. Okay, now you have to like turn your head like this, vertically straight forward up. When you see it like that way, you can observe, right, the constellation Leo, right? The constellation Leo can be observed. Leo, near the zenith. And also it is given brightest star in this constellation is the Regulus. So Regulus is the brightest star that can be observed. So this is my dear children, the Leo, right? Constellation Leo. It's in a shape of a lion, right? The ancient people observed, right, this constellation, shape of this constellation as a lion, right? So in the earlier times, actually when you check the shape and the shape of a lion, those two shapes are way more different to each other. But however, my dear children, the ancient people, they have given or they have introduced this thing as in the shape of a lion. Okay, so this constellation, the constellation Leo, is to be observed as a shape of a lion. So this is that shape, my dear children. You can observe within the figure given here. So when you observe the zenith, you can observe the constellation Leo. Okay, so the brightest star contained in the Leo constellation is called as the Regulus, right? So this is constellation Leo. You can observe the Regulus, right, the brightest star. Right, so this is the Leo constellation, my dear children, constellation Leo. Then during the same period, constellation Ursa Major can be observed. Ursa Major can be observed in the same time period, 45 degrees above the northern horizon. 45 degrees above the northern horizon, you can observe the constellation, what? The constellation Ursa Major. See, Ursa Major. 45 degrees above the northern horizon, you can observe Ursa Major. So this is the constellation Ursa Major, my dear children. Okay, so it has some kind of a tail and this is the body. So this is like what? This is like a bear, right? A bear. So Ursa Major means it's also referred as great bear. Okay, great bear. Ursa Minor means, right, that's the small bear. Great bear and small bear, right? Major and minor. Small and the large. Okay. So this is great bear. Or once again referred as, another name for great bear is Ursa Major. So this is the shape of the Ursa Major, my dear children. Ursa Major can be observed 45 degrees above the northern horizon. Okay, 45 degrees above the northern horizon. This constellation helps to find the north at night. So I told you that the Ursa Major is very much closer to the northern direction. Okay, it's very closer to the northern horizon. So I told you that this thing can be used to find out the north direction, because Ursa Major is pretty much closer to the northern direction, so we can directly find out northern direction by checking the Ursa Major. Okay. So this constellation helps to find out the north at night. So at night, my dear children, this particular constellation can also be used to find out the north direction. Then this constellation, the seven sages and plow are two other names for the same constellation. So for the Ursa Major, seven sages and plow. Seven sages and plow are some similar names for the same constellation Ursa Major. Okay, these are other names given for the Ursa Major. Some other names. What are those? Seven sages and plow are the two other names for the same constellation. There are 7 bright stars in this. So there are about how much, my dear children? There are 7, right? If you count the number, you can observe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. So there are 7 bright stars contained within the constellation Ursa Major. Ursa Major is also referred as what? Also referred as seven sages and plow. Okay, seven sages and plow. So there are 7 bright stars in this. So as I told my dear children, there are 7 bright stars. So this is about the Ursa Major, right? Ursa Major, what are the key points once again? There are 7 bright stars. It is in the shape of a bear, right? 7 sages and plow are some other names. And my dear children, specialty here is that as it closer to the northern horizon, we can find out the northern horizon or north direction by using this particular star pattern or this particular constellation. So this is about, my dear children, constellation Ursa Major or Great Bear. Right. So Ursa Minor can be seen below the Ursa Major, closer to its northern horizon. Polaris is at the tail of this bear. This star is closer to the horizon when watched in Sri Lanka. Therefore, it can be watched only in large plain, seashore, or in a hilltop. So near to Ursa Major, you can observe Ursa Minor, my dear children. Ursa Minor and Ursa Major. So this is Ursa Major. Okay. If you join these patterns like this, right? You can join these patterns like this. So this is, right, this is Ursa Major. So I can highlight the stars in here. These are the stars contained in Ursa major, okay, so this is the star pattern, Ursa major, my dear children. This is Ursa minor. Let's point out the stars. Right. So now let's see the pattern. So this is the pattern. Right. So I'll highlight the stars now. Okay. So Ursa major and Ursa minor, the two types of star patterns that we can observe at the northern horizon. Okay. So once again, Ursa minor can be seen below the Ursa major, closer to its northern horizon. Closer to the northern horizon, somewhat below. Okay, closer to northern horizon, somewhat below the Ursa major, you can observe the Ursa minor. So Ursa minor and Ursa major are like similar, somewhat similar, but however, as you can see, Ursa major is somewhat larger than the Ursa minor. As you can see here, this shape is somewhat smaller, but however, this shape is somewhat larger when you compare the two constellations, right? So this is Ursa minor, small bear, right? So Ursa minor can be seen below the Ursa major, closer to the northern horizon. Polaris is at the tail end of this bear. So at the tail end of this bear, you can observe the star called the Polaris. Okay, Polaris. At the tail end. So this is Polaris. Right? So as you can see, Polaris is at the tail end of this bear, right? Tail end of this bear. This star is closer to the horizon when watched in Sri Lanka. So when you watched it in Sri Lanka, it is closer to the horizon. Okay. So therefore, it can be watched only in a large plain, seashore, or else in a hilltop. So you have to, in order to observe this thing, this particular star, you have to be at a hilltop, right? Or else at a seashore, or else at a higher position, my dear children, as it is located at the horizon. Okay. So you have to observe this thing or this particular star. You know, you have to go for a very calm and a quiet place, and also it should be, my dear children, free of obstacles. So you have to observe it at a very high topmost point. So that by that way only you can observe the horizon. There is no other particular way to observe the horizon, no. So in order to observe it at the horizon, you have to get a very clear space, right? However, it should be at a higher position also in order to observe the horizon. So the Polaris is at the tail end of the Ursa minor. Tail end. Okay, tail end of the Ursa minor. Right. So this is about the Ursa major and Ursa minor, my dear children. Okay, Ursa minor and Ursa major. So remember, the Polaris is at the tail end of the Ursa minor, right? Tail end of the Ursa minor. Right then. So Ursa major, Ursa minor, great bear and the small bear, right? Okay. Find about importance of star Polaris and make a report. So Polaris, you have to find out some importance about the Polaris constellation, right? So I'll tell you a simple, right, a very simple example. Polaris can be used to find out directions, but I'm just telling about directions, my dear children. You find out which direction. I'm not going to mention the particular direction, okay? So it's really important for you guys to follow up these things. Find out new things. Always don't depend on the things which are being taught for you guys, right? Which are given for you guys. Don't rely on those informations all the time. You try to find out some other information as well. Always try to find out several new information. You check the books, internet, magazines, and you can even ask from your parents or from your elders regarding these things, my dear children. Okay, so it's very much important to not to rely or not to depend on only about the things which you are being taught. So it's really important to find out new things as well. So I'm not going to mention about the direction which we can find by using the Polaris star, but however it can be used to find out a certain direction, my dear children. So this is just a one single example or one single use of Polaris star. You find out other things as well and try to represent or try to make a report and represent in your school classroom. Okay, even I told you that you can find out these details. What are the sources to find out these details, my dear children? Okay, so I have mentioned just a one single, right, example. I'll write it in the board also. You find out what is the direction that we can find by using the Polaris star. Okay, so I'll just mention one single example for this thing. I'm not going to mention the direction also. Try to find out the direction as well. If you read this thing very clearly, if you are paying attention to this lesson part very clearly, you already know what is the direction that we can find by using the Polaris. Okay, so I'm not going to mention the direction, but I'll mention a simple use of the Polaris star. So what is that use, my dear children? Can be used to, right, can be used to find directions. Right, can be used to find directions. Actually, it can be used to find one direction. So if a certain direction is known, definitely you can find out the other directions as well, right? So this Polaris star can be used to find out directions. So you write down which direction is the one that can find, or what is the direction actually that we can find by using the Polaris star. You find out that detail. I'm not going to mention it. Okay, then after that find out other several importance of this star. Okay, right, so this is about the Polaris then. So another point given, in this period another constellation with the shape of tilt cross can be seen in the southern sky towards the horizon. This is called the Southern Cross. So this is, my dear children, the Southern Cross, right? Southern Cross. There are 4 bright stars. Okay, and this is the shape of the star pattern. This is the shape of the star pattern. So like I said, near to Southern Cross you can observe another special star which is referred as the Alpha Centauri. right? Alpha Centauri. So this is Southern Cross. Southern Cross. It is in the shape of a cross, my dear children, however somewhat tilt, right? In a shape of a cross, however somewhat tilt, like this. So a tilde cross can be observed, right? A tilde cross, which is named as the Southern Cross, can be observed in the southern sky. This can be observed in the southern sky. Okay? And southern sky also towards the horizon, my dear children. Also towards the horizon, right? So at the southern sky towards the horizon, this particular star pattern can be observed. This is called as the Southern Cross. According to the figure, to the left of this constellation, there are two bright stars which are closer to each other. So these are those two stars, my dear children. One which is very far away from the Southern Cross is called Alpha Centauri. So this is the Southern Cross. So at very far away from the Southern Cross, you can observe Alpha Centauri. So it's really easy to identify, my dear children. From Southern Cross, somewhat at a distance, you can observe two bright stars. At the far away from Southern Cross, you can observe the Alpha Centauri. Okay, Alpha Centauri can be observed at very far from the Southern Cross. Two bright stars can be observed at the far end corner. Okay, at the far end of from the Southern Cross, you can observe the Alpha Centauri. Okay, Alpha Centauri can be observed. So this is, my dear children, about the Southern Cross and the Alpha Centauri. So once again, Southern Cross can be observed at the southern sky towards the horizon. So it is in the shape of a tilde cross. There are 4 different stars within this constellation. So as per the figure which is given here, somewhat far away to, right, somewhat far away to Southern Cross, you can observe 2 different bright stars. The furthest one from Southern Cross is referred as the Alpha Centauri. Okay, Alpha Centauri, right? Okay then. So constellation Southern Cross can be used to find the south and north directions. So I told you that the Southern Cross is at the southern horizon, no? So definitely south direction can be found out by using the Southern Cross. Okay, south direction can be easily found out by using the Southern Cross. It's very easy. If you know the southern horizon, then the opposite direction or the opposite horizon is the northern direction or the northern horizon. So to find out north and south direction, we can use the Southern Cross. Okay, Southern Cross constellation can be used to find out north and south directions, my dear children. Okay, north and south directions. So once again, you are given with a point. What is that? Constellation Southern Cross can be used to find out north and south directions. Okay, constellation Southern Cross can be used to find out north and south directions, my dear children. Okay, and you are given with another assignment. See, find out the importance of the star Alpha Centauri and make a report. Right, so what do you have to do? You have to find out the details regarding Alpha Centauri. Okay, find out several important things related to Alpha Centauri. Then you have to make a report regarding the Alpha Centauri, my dear children. Okay, so this is your assignment regarding the Alpha Centauri. Okay, Alpha Centauri. So I'm not going to give you anything regarding this thing, my dear children. Earlier I have given you support by providing a simple example, but however within this part I'll be not providing any support for you guys. It's easy when you check, when you just need to type the particular name of the star pattern or the star within the Google or within internet. So by that way you can find out several details regarding these things. It's very easy. Okay, so nowadays, my dear children, it is pretty much easy to find out information regarding these things, right? We can get way more different information, way more different information from our internet. Okay, so you find out these details regarding Alpha Centauri. Okay, regarding Alpha Centauri, what are the users of it? Okay, already you know the location, so you have to find out the users of the Alpha Centauri. So I'm not going to support this time. By your own find out and make a report so that you can represent in the classroom. Okay, now it is really important, my dear children, follow up the lesson, do this assignments. Okay, in the previous case also there were several assignments, so you have to follow up all of these assignments and you have to do it. Remember, within this part I'll be not giving any examples. Okay, so try to find out the information to sharpen your knowledge even more. Right, so this is about the constellations, my dear children, about the constellations. Okay, so you are given several assignments regarding the constellations. Make sure to do these things as well, do these as well. So now we are going to start a fresh new topic. This topic is about the zodiac. Okay, the zodiac. So do you know about your zodiac sign? When you are going to born for this world, you have a particular zodiac sign, right? Your parents are going to give you a certain type of a zodiac sign. So do you know about that zodiac sign? So I hope that you already know about your zodiac sign, my dear children. So within this lesson part, we'll be studying about that zodiac signs and the zodiac. Okay, how does the zodiac sign can be observed, right? How does the zodiac sign can be observed, and what is the method of giving a zodiac sign for a particular baby? So we'll be identifying these things within this part. Okay, about the zodiac signs. Right then, so it is given here a point. The Earth and the other planets revolve around the Sun. So you know that our planet Earth and all the other planets are going to revolve around the Sun because of the gravitational force. Earth and other planets are going to revolve around the Sun because of the gravitational force. So the Sun is providing a huge amount of gravitational force as the mass of the Sun is pretty much greater, right? So because of this, my dear children, right, because of this, all the planets are going to revolve around the Sun, Then 12 signs in the outer space which are named as the zodiac from ancient times. Those 12 signs in the zodiac are as follows. So there are about 12 signs, right? There are about 12 signs within the zodiac. There are 12 particular constellations or star patterns. So based on these constellations or star patterns, right, several names are given. So there are about 12 star patterns. So there are 12 star zodiac signs. Okay, there are 12 zodiac signs. So we'll be studying about these 12 zodiac signs. So here first of all it is given Aries. The first and foremost zodiac sign is the Aries. Then the Taurus. You already know about the Taurus, I think. Gemini also we found, right? We were discussing about the Gemini constellation as well. Then the Cancer. Then Leo. I think you can remember the Leo constellation. Then Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius and Pisces. So these are the 12, right? These are the 12 zodiac signs that we can observe in the sky, right? These are the 12 major zodiac signs that we can observe in the night sky. So once again, my dear children, what are these? Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius and Pisces. Okay, so these are the 12 zodiac signs. Right then. So you are given with another assignment. What is that? So there are several stamps. Even there are stamps which are named by using the picture contained within the stamp is, you know, what are the things? What is the picture contained in the stamp? So in some particular stamps, my dear children, zodiac signs are being printed. Okay, zodiac signs are being printed. So your assignment is very simple. What is that? There are 12 stamps in current usage which contain the diagrams of signs of the zodiac. So there are 12 particular stamps. There are 12 particular stamps. So you have to find out, okay, you have to find out these 12 particular stamps that contains the zodiac signs. That contains the zodiac signs, my dear children. Then what do you have to do? You have to find out these particular stamps, then collect them and exhibit in a board. So you need to collect those things and you need to exhibit these things in a board. Okay. So this is your next assignment regarding the zodiac. Okay. Try to find out the stamps regarding the zodiac signs. You can paste them on a particular board. Then you have to represent this thing to the class. Okay. So I hope that you follow up these assignment, my dear children. Okay. Right then. So this is about the zodiac signs then. So here once again specially another diagram given. So as you can see within the figure, you can observe the 12 different constellations or the 12 different star patterns regarding the zodiac signs. So this is the Aquarius, then the Pisces, Aries, Taurus. Taurus is somewhat familiar for you. Then Gemini, once again it's been familiar, right? Then the Cancer, Leo. Leo is also familiar for you, I know that. Then Virgo, then Libra, Scorpio and Sagittarius, and my dear children, Capricorn, right? So these are the 12 signs. So these are the patterns, my dear children. Patterns regarding the, right, zodiac signs. Patterns, as these are star patterns, we can observe a particular pattern. So these are those patterns, right? So when the earth is revolving around the sun, you know that our earth is going to revolve around the sun, right? So when the earth is revolving around the sun, we see that the sun is apparently moving from sign to sign in the zodiac. Now this is earth. When it is revolving around when the earth is revolving around the sun, now let's imagine that earth is coming to this position. Right now this is earth let's imagine that there is a person over here. Right? Let's imagine that there is a person. There is a person over here. At this white dot, there is a person. So now that particular person can observe the Scorpio. Then when he is going to travel and come to this kind of position, then he can observe Sagittarius, then Capricorn, then Aquarius, then Pisces, then Aries, and so on. When the earth is going to revolve, the person who is at this position can observe these things. And the opposite case is that, my dear children, here it is given. See, what is that? When the earth is revolving around the sun, when the earth is also revolving around the sun, we see that the sun is apparently moving from sign to sign in the zodiac. Now, for a particular person who is in this position, can observe the sun at the Taurus. See, at the Taurus, or if for a particular person who is at this kind of a place, now that particular person can observe sun at the constellation Aries, because the sun is now directly at the Aries constellation like this. For a particular person over here can observe the sun at the Aries constellation, Now, when the earth is going to revolve to a different place, let's imagine that the earth is now at this place. If the earth is now at this place, my dear children, right? Like this place. Now what is the constellation that the sun is in for a particular person which is over here at the same place? Now, my dear children, the same person can observe what? The Taurus constellation. Now the sun is in Taurus constellation for a particular person which is at the same point over here, but upon change in the position of the earth because of the revolution around the sun, this particular person can observe the sun is at the Taurus constellation, So we can see, apparently we can see, actually it's not going to happen, right? The thing which is going to happen is that we are the one who are going to move. So because of that, sun is going to be moved. Because of that, apparently the sun is going to move from one particular place to another. Okay, that's the thing which is going to happen over here. So as we are moving here to here, right, we can see that sun is at different constellations at different time periods. Okay, so when the earth is revolving around the sun, we see that the sun is apparently moving from sign to sign in the zodiac like this. Example, so in the instance given in the figure, people on the earth see as the sun in the sign Aries of the zodiac. So people in the earth over here, now they can observe Aries. Directly they can observe Aries. Okay. Then, according to the revolution of the earth, the sun's next apparent destination is in the sign Taurus. So according to the revolution, when the earth is going to revolve, the people on this side can observe sun at the Taurus constellation, then the Gemini, then Cancer, then Leo, then Virgo, then, my dear children, Libra, then the Scorpio. So at Scorpio, right? To observe Scorpio, Earth should rotate like this. Like this, the Earth should rotate and comes to the point, and it should come to the point like this. Now, see, Scorpio can be seen. Earth should revolve around the sun and should come to this particular place. Okay. Then, see here. So, when one cycle is going to complete, when Earth is going to complete one cycle around the sun, okay, apparently sun is also completing one cycle around the zodiac signs, right? So this is about the zodiac signs, my dear children. This is how you receive a zodiac sign, right? This is how you receive a zodiac sign. At the time you are born, these astrologists, right? Astrologists, they are going to observe the sky and take the particular star pattern, or to take the particular constellation which the sun is going to locate at the time you were born, and you are given with that particular star pattern, my dear children, or the constellation or the zodiac sign. So this is how the zodiac sign is being given for you guys. Okay, right then. When the night sky is being observed, it is realized that the relative position of the stars does not change daily or monthly, but there are some objects among the constellations in zodiac, the position of which changes with respect to the stars. Those objects are planets. So my dear children, now we are discussing how to observe planets and stars. Okay, how to observe planets and stars. Within that, a special key point is given. What is that? When the night sky is being observed, so when you are observing the night sky, it is realized that the relative position of the stars does not change daily or monthly. So when you are checking the night sky, my dear children, it is observed that when you see the stars, the position of the stars is not going to change weekly or monthly. Position of the stars is not going to change weekly or monthly. Okay, but however, there is an exception. But there are some objects among these constellations in the zodiac, the position of which changes with respect to the stars. So there are some objects. Okay, there are some particular objects in which the position is going to change. Okay, so there are some objects which the position is going to change. Okay, so these particular objects are referred as planets because planets are revolving around the sun. So because of this revolution process, my dear children, what will happen? From day to another day, from month to another month, what will happen? The position is going to change. So here it is given, there are some objects among the constellations in the zodiac, the position of which changes with respect to the stars. So these objects are planets. These objects are what? These are planets, my dear children. Okay. So there are 5 planets which are observable with the naked eye. So there are 5 planets. There are 5 planets. Okay, there are how many, my dear children? There are 5 planets which are observable with the naked eye. There are 5 planets which are observable in the naked eye. Okay, from our naked eye we can observe 5 planets. 5 planets. So what are these 5 planets? These 5 planets are Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter and Saturn. So we can observe these 5 planets from our naked eye. What are these planets, my dear children? Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter and Saturn. Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter and Saturn. So these 5 planets can be observed from our naked eye, but during the night time period, okay? So during the night sky, when you are observing the night sky or at the night time period, we can observe these 5 planets. These 5 planets can be observed. Then Mercury, Venus, Earth and Mars are the planets in solid nature, and other planets occur in gaseous nature. So this is a very much important point. What is that? Mercury, Venus, Earth and Mars. So there are 4 planets. These 4 planets, these are going to occur in solid nature. So like I said, when during the beginning of our lesson, my dear children, I think you could remember I told you that Jupiter, when you take the planet Jupiter, so Jupiter is in a gaseous nature. Jupiter is in gaseous nature. There is no crust in Jupiter. So let's imagine that a particular astronaut is going to land on Jupiter. He won't be able to set foot on the Jupiter. He will sink. It's because there is no such crust like the planet Earth. There is no surface. It's a gaseous planet. It's a gaseous planet. Okay, it's a gaseous planet. So not only planet Jupiter, but all the other planets except these Mercury, Venus, Earth and Mars, except for these 4 planets, all the other planets are in the gaseous nature. So there are no crust. There is no crust in it. There are no any crusts, okay, within the planets, within the gaseous planets. And I'll tell you another interesting point. If you take a water bath enough to dip planet Saturn, okay, if you can take a water bath enough to dip planet Saturn, then my dear children, right, planet Saturn will definitely float on that particular water bath. Why is that? Because the density or the mass is that much less in planet Saturn. Okay, it is even less than the density of water. The planet Saturn, the density is even less than the water. So it will not sink within water if you can dip planet Saturn on a particular water bath. It's because those things are mainly, or the planet is mainly made up with gases. Mainly made up with gases. So these are gaseous planets, gas giants. Okay, these are also referred as gas giants, gaseous planets. So except for these 4 planets, what are the 4 planets? Mercury, Venus, Earth and Mars. Mercury, Venus, Earth and Mars. These planets, these 4 planets are, they're in solid nature. I mean, like, they have a crust. There are solid, these things are found in solid nature. There is a good crust. But however, all the other planets are available in the gaseous nature. There is no crust in it. Then a star twinkles in the night sky. A star twinkles in the sky, but planets do not twinkle. Star is a bright point even when observed through a telescope. But when a planet is observed through a telescope, it is seen as a disk. So, the other specialty is that you know that a star is, when you take stars, stars are luminous objects. Luminous means they can create their own light. So I told you that sun is also a type of a star. That is the closest star to the planet Earth. The closest star to planet Earth is what? Sun. Sun is the closest star to the planet Earth. Because sun is a particular star. Sun is a type of a star. Okay? Sun is also a star. That's why it can generate its own light and heat energy, my dear children, by the action of or by the nuclear reactions that's going to occur within the sun. That's the main reason of emitting this much of light and heat energy. Okay? So, star is a object. Star is an object which can generate own light and heat. So, during the night time period, or when you are observing the night sky, my dear children, a star is going to twinkle. Right? A star is going to twinkle. It's because mainly they are producing light and heat energy within themselves. So, it's a twinkling point, a star. But however, if you observe a planet, there are no such twinkling process going around with the planet, because planet is going to just reflect the sunlight or the light energy received by another third party. Now, for an example, if you take the planet Mercury or planet Venus, even though those things are visible to us, those things are not going to twinkle in the night sky. Mainly because these things are going to reflect light received from the sun. So there is no twinkling process. Twinkling process can only be observed within stars only, because they are the ones who are generating light energy. So according to the right amount of light generation, we can observe a twinkling process. However, in a planet, we can't observe it. So a planet can be observed as a disk. Okay? So my dear children, that is how to identify a star and a planet very clearly when you are checking the night sky. Always remember, twinkling ones are the stars, and only a disc shaped ones. Right, disc shaped ones which are not twinkling are the planets. Okay, those are the planets. So, a star twinkles in the night, in the sky, but planets do not twinkle. Star is a bright point even when observed through a telescope. But when a planet is observed through a telescope, it is seen as a disk. Okay, when a planet is observed, we can observe it as just a disk. Okay, just a disk. Even when you observe these things from a telescope is the best instrument to observe celestial objects, my dear children. You can observe these things from the naked eye as well, but however, if you observe these celestial objects from a telescope, then you can identify the special properties, and as well as, my dear children, you can clearly identify whether the celestial object is a planet or else a star. Because always a star is a very bright point. However, planets are not that much bright as a star. Okay? Right. Then you are given with another assignment. Another assignment is given. What is that? Select a planet in the background of a certain sign in the night sky. Okay, so you have to select a planet in the background of a certain sign in the night sky. Get the assistance of your teacher or an adult for this. Planets Jupiter, Saturn or Mars is more suitable for this. Note down how the position of the planet changes in the background of the sign for about month. So in the night sky, you have to select a particular planet. Okay, a good visible planet. So as examples here it is given Jupiter, Saturn or Mars is better. Okay, so you have to select that particular planet and you have to observe. You have to observe in which position or the position of these of these planets. Okay, you have to select just one planet and you have to observe the position from time to time. For what places are going for each place, right? For like when it is going to revolve, what is the change in position? Okay, what is the change in position? Then you have to, within a certain background, you have to note it down. So this is the assignment, right? So this is the assignment. So note down how the position of the planet changes in the background of the sign for about 1 month. So you have to do it for about 1 month, my dear children, in order to take good observations. Okay, so this is the next assignment. So all of these assignments are really important to complete, my dear children, because by doing these assignments your knowledge will be replenished, right? So it's really important to follow up the lesson and follow up all the assignments, and you have to do it also, right? Try to do these assignments, as these things are very important. So your knowledge will be once again renewed when you are doing these assignments. Okay then, so remember to do these assignments, my dear children, as these things are very important. So this is about the zodiac signs and how to observe planets and stars in our night sky, my dear children. Okay, right then. Now I told you that there is a particular way to observe, right, a planet apart from a star. I told you that planet is just being observed as a disc-shaped one without any twinkling process. But however, star is a very bright point and it is going to twinkle at the night. So within this lesson part, in this particular lesson part, we are observing what? Here we are going to construct an instrument to measure the altitude to a star or to a planet. So here we are mainly observing how much is the altitude. How much is the altitude from our position to the particular star. So when we are measuring that altitude, my dear children, we have to build up a certain type of an instrument. Okay, we have to build up a certain type of an instrument. Altitude means the height from the sea level to a particular star or to a particular celestial object from sea level. So we can say that thing as ground level. There's no problem in it. So from ground level, what is the height to a particular celestial object? That is what do you mean by the altitude. So to measure the altitude, we use a different kind of an instrument. So here we are discussing with this lesson part how to construct a particular instrument, that particular type of instrument, in observing or in taking the altitude of the night sky. Okay, right. So you are given with two materials in making this instrument. So here we are going to build up a material or an instrument to measure the altitude of a star, right? Altitude to a star or else to a planet. Right. So these are the materials you will be needing in making this instrument. You'll be needing a drinking straw, right? A drinking straw. straw, a drinking straw. Then a protector. You'll be needing a protector and a drinking straw, right? A drinking straw and a protector. These are the two main components or materials that you need. Okay, a protector and a drinking straw. So my dear children, except for these two, so what are the materials that you need? These are the two main materials that you need in making this instrument. Okay, actually this instrument is called as the clinometer. This particular instrument is referred as the clinometer. Okay, this clinometer is the one which been used to measure the altitude of a certain star or to a planet from our position, from our sea level. And also to get the location of a particular star or a planet, we can use this clinometer to get the position also, right? So clinometer is very simple. Here we are making a simple clinometer. So to make a simple clinometer, my dear children, what are the two main materials that you need? One thing is a drinking straw, and the other one is the protector. Here one R is missing, right? So we'll mention that thing. Protector. Okay, the protector and the drinking straw. So these are the two main materials that you need. And my dear children, there is another thing. Now, when making the clinometer, protector and the except for the protector and the drinking straw, you will be needing, in order to get the position, you will be needing a small bit of a thread and a small bit of a weight. Okay, small bit of a weight. For this weight, you can use a bolt, right, or else a nut for this weight. So when we are discussing about the method, I'll explain that thing furthermore. Okay, right. So now let's see how to make this clinometer. So we'll discuss how to construct this simple clinometer under the method of the activity. Okay, so let's head on to see the method, my dear children. Then the method is given. Using a tube and a protector, make the following instrument. It is called the clinometer. So like I said, this is called as the clinometer. So this is that, I told you that there should be a weight. So this is the thread and this is the weight. From this thing, we are going to measure the angle of the position, my dear children. So this is that nut. You can use a nut or else a simple bolt, right? So this is a piece of thread. So you have to connect the straw to that outer line of the protector, right? Then you have to hang a thread by using a weight along the 90-degree axis. Then by turning here and there, you can you can get the location of a certain planet or else the star. You can measure the angle of that thing. So by measuring the angle, you can find out the altitude by using a calculation. Okay, by using a simple calculation. So this is the instrument which is called as the clinometer, my dear children. Clinometer. Okay, so clinometer is used to measure or to get the altitude or the location of a particular planet or else a star. So now let's head on to the laboratory and we'll observe the clinometer. So my dear children, this is the instrument which referred as the clinometer. Actually, this is a sample of a clinometer which prepared by using the protector, right? sample of a clinometer. So what you have to do is you have to see it from here and you have to look at the star like this. So by the angle over here, which is getting created with the 90-degree angle like this, when you are observing, you can get the location, right? You can get the location, the clinometer. So as you can see here very clearly, when you are turning here and there, right? Actually, you have to keep it like this at a 90-degree angle like this. Then it should be parallel to the ground. Yes. Now you are going to observe the particular star or whatever the celestial object like this. So by that way you can get the angle, right? By that way you can get the angle which the celestial object is located in our sky. Okay. And by that way you can get the location as well and the distance. You can even calculate the distance also. So to get the location, we use the instrument which is referred as the clinometer, right? This is referred as the clinometer then, right? So my dear children, let's head on to the classroom once again and we'll observe what are the other things contained within our lesson, right, my dear children? So that's the clinometer, right? So it's really simple to make the clinometer. So at your home also try to make the clinometer, okay? The clinometer. Now you are given with a simple diagrams, right? Simple two diagrams. Within these two diagrams, at the first diagram you can observe how to see the clinometer. So even in the laboratory I use this method to observe the observe a certain point by using the clinometer, right? So here it is given the way of measuring the altitude to a star using the clinometer is shown in the figure, right? So this is how to measure the altitude of a certain, right, altitude to a certain star or to a certain location by using the clinometer. So this is another clinometer, but however it can be used to find out the horizontal, right? So this is the way of measuring the altitude to a star using the clinometer as shown in the figure, right? So this is when you check the horizontal plane, right? So you know that sometimes you have to check it like this and sometimes you have to, you know, like turn and check it like that. So in that case, my dear children, you have to use the horizontal plane as well. Okay, so here the clinometer which used can be turned along the horizontal axis, here along the vertical axis. Okay, so when measuring the altitude, my dear children, it's important to get the horizontal axis and also by turning here and there you can get the altitude. Okay, so this is by using the horizontal axis. It can be turned to a horizontal axis also like this. Then like up and down you can measure like this the altitude. Okay, so at the below, here at the below you can observe the horizontal axis, the movement of the horizontal axis, right? So up and down we turn like this and this portion can be turned horizontally to find out the location or the horizontal location of the particular planet or the star. So here the clinometer is been, you know, like remastered, or the clinometer has been like, you know, renewed so that we can turn around the horizontal axis. We can turn along the horizontal axis also to find out the location, and also by turning up and down even we can measure the altitude. Okay, so along both horizontal and vertical axes this particular clinometer can be turned. So this below half or the below portion can be turned horizontally and this part can be turned vertically up and down to find out the altitude. Okay, so this is a modified one. So this is about the clinometer, my dear children. So remember, clinometer can be find out, or clinometer can be used to find out the altitude to a particular star, okay, or to a planet, right? So my dear children, with that lesson part, with that clinometer thing, we have come to the end of our lesson. Okay, we have come to the end of our lesson. So like in the previous lessons, now we are going to check the summary of the lesson, right? So we'll be checking about the summary regarding the lesson parts. So here you are given planets in the solar system show two types of motions, rotation and revolution. As you can see, right, when we are discussing about the planet and the planetary systems and the solar systems, I told you that planets show two different movements. One is the rotation around its own axis, it's going to rotate, and the second is the revolution around a certain point. Here the sun, around the sun it's going to complete cycles, so that is called as revolution. So rotation and revolution, those are the two main motions that can be observed in a planet. Okay, then my dear children, seasonal changes occur because of the tilt of the earth axis to its orbital plane. So we discussed that several seasons are going to occur in our earth, right? These seasonal changes mainly occur because of the tilt shown by the earth to its orbital plane, my dear children. So we discussed that there is a tilt of 23.5 degrees. Because of having this tilt, there is an uneven distribution of light energy received from the sun. That's the main reason of creating seasons, different seasons, right? Then illuminated portion of the moon viewed from the earth changes while it revolves around the earth. Because of this incident, phases of the moon occur. So I told you that, right, when we are discussing about the phases of the moon, the phases of the moon is going to occur because of the revolution of moon around our planet Earth. Okay, so upon that revolution, my dear children, we can observe several phases of moon, right? Several phases of moon. Always only one half of moon is being illuminated, right? So there are several phases which we can observe in the moon also, right? Then lunar eclipse occurs on a full moon day when the moon enters into the shadow of the earth. So lunar eclipse is a eclipse or else a special kind of a phenomena, an eclipse that going to occur during which day? During a full moon day, my dear children. So lunar eclipse is going to occur mainly within a full moon day. Okay, mainly within a full moon day. So here the moon is going to enter into the shadow of earth's, right, to the shadow of the earth, the moon is going to enter. So that's why we can't observe, or the moon is going to cover by the shadow of the earth. Okay, so eclipses are mainly occurring because of the shadows or the umbra and penumbra, right? Solar eclipse occurs on a new moon day when the shadow of the moon falls on the earth. So here the shadow of the moon is going to fall on the earth, and from that shadow, my dear children, we won't be able to observe, because of that shadow we won't be able to observe the sun very clearly. So sun rays are being blocked by the shadow of the moon. So it's going to occur on a new moon day. So that's about the solar eclipse. So solar and lunar eclipse both are occurring in because of shadows. Next one, rockets and spacecrafts are used for these explorations of the space. So for the space explorations, we use rockets and different kinds of spacecrafts like shuttles. So we use these things to explore the universe, explore the planets and other celestial objects. So even we have set foot on the moon, not we but the American people, right? We can mention this thing as humankind or human race. So human race even set foot on the moon, right? By using the Apollo program. So Neil Armstrong, the first and foremost astronaut who was able to set foot on the moon. We studied about those things, right? We studied about those things, my dear children. So this is about the space explorations. So we use rockets and different kinds of other spacecrafts in order to, right, explore the universe, right? Then the final one, constellations are the imaginary patterns constructed in mind connecting the stars in the night sky. So constellations, my dear children, these things are made by imaginary patterns. Those things are not real. Those things are actually not in the shape of those special shapes that we have discussed. If you take the Leo constellation, I told you that Leo is in a shape of a lion, right? But however, if you take the lines and if you join them together, if you take stars and when you join these things by using a straight line, by using straight lines, we won't be able to observe the lion. We won't be able to observe a lion. That's why it is referred as an imaginary one. Okay, those things are not even in a shape of a lion, but however, these things are imaginary things constructed by the ancient people. So these constellations, they have imaginary shapes, right? And these constellations or these things are also referred as star patterns. So we studied about different star patterns and also we studied about the zodiac signs as well at the final lesson part. Then, my dear children, we studied about the measurement of altitude to a certain planet or to a certain star. So the clinometer is the instrument that we use to measure the altitude of a certain planet or to a certain star. So these are the things that we have learned under the lesson part, my dear children. So with that part, I'm going to finish up this chapter. So, but you have to wait because I'll be coming with new chapter to discuss about several questions regarding the lesson part. So as usual, I'll be starting with textbook questions, right? Questions given in your textbook. Then after that, we'll be discussing several other questions as well. So I'll be finishing this chapter. Then I'll hope to meet you soon with the next chapter of the lesson to discuss about the questions.
To watch these important lessons, subscribe to DP Education's YouTube channel right now. Click on the bell icon to stay updated on the latest lessons. Sri Lanka's largest free online school, DP Education.